What if I told you there was something that could help preserve your hearing when you're going to a show? Something so small, simple, and insignificant that will help mitigate the ringing in your ears, the loss of equilibrium, the headaches. One little thing that could help solve some of those problems you have after a show. And it is, dun dun dun, earplugs. What is up, everyone, and welcome back. One thing I notice that happens every single time I go to a show, whether it be a small club or even an arena, is people are not wearing ear protection. They're not wearing earplugs. And it's a terrible thing to see because hearing loss is a very real thing. And shows are a real quick way to destroy your hearing. And I notice it even more in the worst possible venues, small clubs or small theaters. Small clubs being a local dive bar that's good for about 150 people, to small theaters that are good for a couple of thousand. And in those places, especially the indoor environments, smaller indoor environments, those ridiculous 100 plus, 120 plus dB decibel level noise levels don't have a lot of places to go. And all those different frequencies, especially with hard rock and metal, are an easy trip to destroying your hearing. And the unfortunate thing about that is hearing is one of the few things you can never regain. You're just not going to get your hearing back. And most of the people that are not wearing earplugs are the same people that come up to you after the show and go, "Man, that show was great, but my head hurts. I don't feel right. My balance feels a little off. My ears are ringing so bad. I just want to get home." And all of that is because of the sound pressure levels, and a lot of that can be mitigated by wearing earplugs. As someone who has tinnitus, once you get tinnitus, it's never going to go away. They have not figured out a way to fix it because it's both a physical damage issue and it's a mental issue with stuff going on in your brain. And they haven't been able to figure out the correlation between the two and how to fix it. So while tinnitus might go away, might reduce itself and you might not have it, it's always there. And that ringing in your ears is always happening. And prolonged exposure to insanely loud levels of decibels and frequencies is going to provide that. It's also going to reduce your hearing. And so much of that can be avoided by picking up simple foam earplugs from your local grocery store. I think I got those in a pack for 15 or 20 for $2.50 or $3 US. And they're inexpensive. They're easy to get. What I personally do, if I don't have them on me, is I'll pick them up or I'll put them in clothes that I know I go to shows with, or put them in my I'm going to a show bag, or leave them in the car. I used to have a car. I used to work full time for my unit when I was in the Army National Guard, and I worked in flight operations, so I always had boxes of earplugs. So every few days I go and take earplugs out of the boxes and throw them in my car. And you open up my glove box and there'd probably be 30 boxes of earplugs in there for myself and for anybody who happened to be going to the show with me. So put them in places that you know where you can get to them. You might even forget about them until you realize you need to have them for a show, because it will save your hearing so much, especially in the long run as you get older and your hearing naturally starts to decay. And having hearing loss is not fun. I have 35 to 38% asymmetrical hearing loss from my time in the military working with helicopters and firearms, and even going to a lot of shows. I've been going to shows for well over 20 years now, and I think I really didn't start wearing earplugs until I was 17 or 18. And it's really becomes a noticeable thing. All those frequencies, all that insanely high decibel levels, which most people don't realize. A lot of loud heavy metal and rock concerts, especially in small venues, they're louder than gunfire. So, and it's for longer than you're going to a show. It's going to be 2 to 3, 4 hours worth of music constantly banging away and assaulting your ears. And the most important thing about all of this is you are worth it. It's not very expensive. It's pretty inexpensive to purchase earplugs. And there are better permanent options. You can go out and get electronic in-ears that have all sorts of cool options. I know people who wear their high-end shooting hearing protection to shows so they can have good conversations in the middle of a show, because it blocks out the excessive noise and still allows you to speak at talking volume without having to do anything. And more shows I go to, and recently, the more I realize that I haven't addressed it here on the channel, and I really feel like I should, because I want all of you gals out there to be able to enjoy music as long as possible, because we all love it. And it's just a really simple thing. So I hear a lot of people say, well, I can't hear the music as good. And yes, you are going to lose some of those frequencies, but I don't find the change that drastic. I also find that having those earplugs in does cut out a lot of the white noise, and it does cut out a lot of the stuff that you really don't want your ears to hear. And it can be a pain to have to sit there and pull your earplugs out when you want to talk to somebody without screaming at them. But you're at a show, and if you're trying to talk while the band is playing, you're going to be screaming at them anyway, because the show is going to be so loud. So it's a trade-off, like most things are, especially when you're wearing protective equipment. And make no mistake, earplugs absolutely are an essential piece of protective equipment to protect your hearing. So if you're not wearing earplugs at a show, you're doing it wrong, because you're just permanently damaging yourself, because you don't want to not be able to hear certain things, which you really don't want to hear anyway. You get to a local show and you've got some local band that doesn't have a professional sound guy, and they don't have people telling them how to and helping them out on how to set up their gear. And you've got all that nasty high-end hiss from their amps, and they just don't have their guitar tones dialed in well. You don't want to hear all the fuzz and white noise and hiss and ugliness. Put earplugs in, you won't have to, and you can still enjoy the rest of their sound. Even with your big bands that are running with sound guys that really have their stuff dialed in, you're still going to get frequencies you just don't want, and you're still going to get a ton of just raw decibel level. So love yourself, take care of yourself, wear ear protection to shows, and extend your listening experience far longer, because the last thing you want to do is lose your hearing and be stuck with hearing aids, or having to get surgery that may or may not give you your hearing back. So take care of yourselves, and extend your listening experience. Thanks, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the support. Thank you to my law enforcement, military veterans, and first responders. What you guys do every day. As always, you have been awesome. I've been Baldman. I will see you in the next one. Be excellent to each other. Keep head banging.